And honestly, if we want, we could just make the Super Bowl.
You know, I think we could make the Super Bowl too. I mean, look at us. We're in the best shape of our lives. And with that, welcome back to the Moore Park Reporter Sportcast. I am your host, producer, whatever you want to call me, Dominic, and I am here with Guru. I am here with our sports desk editor, Danny Stepanovich, our staff writers extraordinaire, Maxwell Clark, Mitchell Ross, and Kennedy Collier. How we doing?
I mean, I don't know after last game.
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
Good. Yeah.
There we go. So,
how are you?
I'm doing all right.
I do want to say one thing before we do get started, Dom. I've seen us labeled as the quartet, and that's very offensive because there's 5 of us. We are not the quartet. We are the quintet. So whoever make the quartet hashtag, come on, get it. We are 5. We are a quintet. I'm sorry, Dom. Continue.
But only you 4 know what you're actually talking about, which is why I want to ask you about the Super Bowl. That happened yesterday, and I ignored it. Instead, I took my dog Ollie for a walk. I ate a ton of pizza. I think I took a nap. That's how good that nap was. I don't even remember if I took it. So tell me about it. We have now a 7-time NFL champion, Tom Brady, 7 rings now. Yeah. Led the Buccaneers to a Super Bowl victory against the Kansas City Chiefs. And now I heard there was a lot of stuff with penalties, and I mean, Slack was blowing up. Y'all had a lot to say, so let me hear it.
All right, yeah. So there were definitely some questionable penalties. That I'll just go like the offside one on that field goal. It didn't really look like he was offsides. It looked very ticky-tacky. Maybe I missed it, but it was also that's like a big change in the game from 3 points to 7 points. The unnecessary roughness where on Chris Jones, where he just pushed the offensive lineman back. It's just come on. It's the Super Bowl. You got to have, as a ref, you can't be calling those. And then also the unsportsmanlike conduct on Tyrann Mathieu. That's just 2 competitors with Tom Brady and him just jawing at each other. I don't think it really warranted a penalty. I think it's just 2 competitors competing. But really I feel like the Chiefs got beat. I really don't think there's too many excuses to be made. Pat Mahomes went 26 for 49, 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. And then, you can't do that. That offensive line looked atrocious at some points, but Mahomes needs to learn that running around helps, but running backwards does not. It just makes it harder on himself. And then to me, the MVPs, it wasn't Tom Brady. It was the defense and the running backs. What did I say last week? The running backs, if you win the run game, you can win the game, or that's your best chance at winning the game. Leonard Fournette, 89 yards rushing with 135 total yards. Ronald Jones got 61 yards. I think Ronald Jones had 2 yards less than the Chiefs' top running back. And then, I just think the defense played phenomenal. Like, I've never seen a defense play that well against that Chiefs offense. And then what's I forgot to write it down. What's the Chiefs, what's the Bucs defensive coordinator's name?
Todd Bowles.
Yeah, Todd Bowles deserves
the real MVP.
Yeah, Todd Bowles deserves like a very big bonus this offseason. But this game just solidified Brady as the GOAT to me.
I'll take you one step further, Max. I agree with you. Todd Bowles deserves more than just a raise. He deserves a head coaching job, but that's a discussion for another time. If you're looking to blame Patrick Mahomes for this performance in the Super Bowl, I question what game you watched because he had 0 help from his offensive line. Of course, a lot of the starters that he had were either injured. Well, they were just injured, so there was no either or. Here's a stat I found interesting. Patrick Mahomes was pressured 52% of his snaps, which is the highest percentage in Super Bowl history. He had 0 help. Of course, he had to run around on every play because then with half a second, he had 350-pound men chasing after him, wanting to rip his head off. It's just insane just how the Tampa Bay Bucs just killed the Chiefs by little tiny, like little knife cuts, not big gashing wounds, but just little cuts until they couldn't just do anything. I would have really liked to see the money line before the game that said, what are the odds that the Chiefs don't score a single touchdown? If someone took that bet, you're never seeing them again because they're in the Cayman Island babies, because that would have never happened. This game was crazy. You had Tom Brady, who's 43 years old, who's never eaten a strawberry, who works out primarily with stretchy bands and definitely doesn't take HGH because, of course, he doesn't. He does. Winning a Super Bowl. He should get the MVP every time he gets to the Super Bowl because he's 43 years old. Every time he gets older, that's more impressive. Like, a guy could have had 17 interceptions in that game, and Tom Brady can go, I'm 43. Give me the damn trophy. It's insane.
It is insane. Brady at 43, just the line, 21 of 29, incredibly efficient, didn't waste passes. But I don't really think Mahomes wasted passes. Like, he was getting chased and having to throw from basically parallel to the ground and still hitting his receivers right in the helmets. The amount of times I watched Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce just drop passes that were right at their face. Disappointing, I got to say. But look, good win for Tampa Bay. It's never a good idea to bet against Brady, which is what I do every single time. I will say I did win on the bet for the coin toss. It was heads. Every other bet that I made, I lost miserably. I would have had the Tyrann Mathieu interception, but that one went back because of a penalty. Man, penalties kind of killed this game because you were seeing that the refs were just kind of letting, in the previous game, just letting the play out instead of blowing the whistle. I didn't think it got that physical. There was that little moment between Tyrann Mathieu and Tom Brady. Apparently he said something offensive. I don't believe Tom Brady has an offensive bone in his body. Yes, he does. See what I did there? Look, there was only one way that the Kansas City Chiefs were beating Tom Brady. That was if Eli Manning came out of retirement. But he's retired. Good win to Brady. We'll see you next year.
I heard so many mistakes out of all three of you guys. You guys just kept mispronouncing Tampa Bay. You forgot to say Champa Bay. Kennedy, I was waiting for you to say
right.
it.
He's right. I know, and I've been saying it all season. I've been saying it since the podcast started. I've been saying Champa
Bay. You gave
Bay.
it to me.
And now that they're the Champa Bay Buccaneers, I didn't say it once. I'm honestly ashamed of myself, Danny.
It's okay. Fellas, I have been trying to tell you, this Tampa Bay pass rush is for real. There's just so much to get into. I want to start with Patrick Mahomes because, I want to say right now, I want to start it off like this. What if Patrick Mahomes wasn't drafted to the Chiefs? Is that fair to say? What if he didn't have a top 10 offensive line his entire career so far? What if he didn't run into the greatest, possibly the greatest tight end of all time, Travis Kelce, who broke the record for highest receiving, has all the tight end records and the Super Bowl tight end records? What if he didn't run into the fastest receiver the NFL has ever seen, Tyreek Hill? What if he didn't run into the greatest play caller, Bruce Arians? What if Patrick Mahomes is on a different team? Is he the same Patrick Mahomes? This was the first time he had to go through adversity, and he fell miserably short. 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. But man, hey, this game, like you guys mentioned, this was all about the Bucs defense. Todd Bowles, MVP. Unfortunately, they're not going to give it to defensive player unless I guess you really get a strip sack or a pick six. So they had to give it to Tom Brady, 3 touchdowns. But here was the key of the game. Tampa Blitz Bay only blitzed 9% of the times, the fewest amount of times they've ever blitzed. Todd Bowles, he loves blitzing, and he didn't have to. That was the key to the game. They were sending for the entire game, and it was getting to Mahomes. They were able to drop 2 safeties back, nothing deep, and the game plan, it worked beautiful. Like you said, Kennedy, the first time Mahomes didn't throw a touchdown, imagine if you hit that bet. If someone's saying if they bet on that, they're lying, because no one would have seen that coming. And then, man, I just want to take a step back, look big picture for a sec. Going into the bye week, week 13, shout out Mike Evans who flopped on that what was that? The trip? Yeah, a little flop. Oh well. They're 7-5 into the going into the bye week. And Mitch, I remember you and me were talking about this. We were saying BA might not be back next year because what was their offense? They're all running go routes. They're making it super difficult on Tom Brady. And then they come out of the bye week, 18 carries, 14 carries, 15 carries, 19 carries, 17 carries, 12 carries, 16 carries. They start running the ball and they start using the play action. I remember like one of the week 5 or something, they ran 8 times or 3 times for 6 yards. It was like the lowest of all time. So they start using the running backs, Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, and they start making it easier on Tom Brady. And what happens in the Super Bowl? 43% of dropbacks were all play action. All 3 touchdowns to Gronk or Gronk and I'm blanking. 2 to Gronk
Antonio
and 1
Brown
and AB. They were all off play action. So the fact that thank you, Mitch, that they were able to adapt after this bye week, it was just game changing. I mean, man, it was, I don't know, it might not have been a fun game for you guys, but this was such a fun game. I was not, I'll admit, I wasn't expecting this. I picked Bucs by 1 point. Anyone who said that they were going to predict a Bucs blowout is lying. But man, Champa Bay, what a year of sports it's been for me.
You know, that brings something up because I was a little curious about something. I think it was either Mitch or Kennedy said about the Chiefs O-line. So I was Googling it while listening with y'all, and they had 3 of their O-line starters missing. One of them ruptured tendons in both knees. Tore tendons in both knees. One ruptured his Achilles, and the third hurt his back.
Yeah,
So,
and it showed in the Super Bowl. Like Danny said, they only sent 4 guys like 95% of the time because they were double teaming Tyreek Hill. So, yeah, their offensive line was hurting. Another thing that I want to mention is that now the NFC is almost wide open for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to make a run back. You don't have Drew Brees and the Saints anymore. Aaron Rodgers is not going to be the same Aaron Rodgers if he remains in Green Bay. And the NFC East is a freaking joke. So the NFC is really wide open for Tom Brady to make another Super Bowl run. And it just frustrates the hell out of me that he keeps winning. I'm going to get older and older and my body's going to wear away and break down. But he's going to get younger and he's going to get better. And he's going to be winning Super Bowls by the time I'm being buried.
yeah, but you have a much happier culinary life than him. His sweet treat is brown rice. I mean, that's very interesting. Go ahead.
Wait. Oh yeah. Yeah. So the Antoine Winfield Jr., I think is his name. I think that was one of the coldest things I've ever seen. Week 12, did Tyreek Hill did this, the peace sign running right by him into the right for the touchdown. The Super Bowl, the game's over and he knows it. Goes right up to Tyreek Hill after he misses the catch and just goes, "See you later. I got the Super Bowl and you didn't." That was.
Those 2 images of those 2 pictures, I need them hung up side by side in a modern art museum because it was certainly a beautiful image.
Oh, and I had such a problem with Tony Romo being like, "Oh, that's such bad sportsmanship." But when Tyreek Hill backflips into the end zone, you hear Tony Romo just go, "Oh my goodness, Tyreek Hill, Tyreek Hill." So yeah, I think Tony Romo needs to stop talking about unsportsmanlike conduct.
Well, that was a feat of athletic ability. I mean, you got to give it to Tyreek Hill. Backflip into the end zone wearing football pads and a helmet. That's quite impressive.
If you could do
Yeah,
it,
but
Max, you would.
disrespectful.
I would only flip into the end zone if I could. If I had the ability.
100%, but it's still disrespectful to another team.
Catch me, tackle me. Don't let me score.
Max, I was a huge KC fan up until that game. As soon as I saw Tyreek do that, I was surprised that the internet wasn't like flipping out on Tyreek. I felt like I was the only one like, yo, what is this guy doing? They haven't won the Super Bowl yet. So I'm glad you brought that up. And Antoine Winfield should be rookie of the year. Huge. That was just huge. That got me so hyped.
And with that, we are moving on to our next segment from the ghost of NFL past, moving into the future, which will hopefully be bright because we got some trade rumors. We're talking about Carson Wentz and whoever Watson. I don't know. He apparently wasn't good enough to merit a first name on the running order. So tell me who he is and where he's going to end up.
Dom, I love your lack of knowledge for sports. It's what keeps me young and the show fresh. It's Deshaun Watson. You should know his name because we're going to be talking about him a lot, especially if the trade rumors are true. I think the Stafford thing is really the most interesting trade in recent NFL history because it now has set the market for what QBs are going to get. If Stafford is getting a minimum of 2 first-round picks and a couple other picks, but really it's the 2 first rounds that matter, I'm interested to see what Carson Wentz and now what Deshaun Watson is going to get, because Carson Wentz is at least going to get 2 first-round picks. And it looks like the Bears are going to be the ones stupid enough to give it to him. And they're going to give Philadelphia back Nick Foles. So imagine trading your star QB that you've paid all this money for and then trading back for Nick Foles. Honestly, if I'm in the quarterback market, which my Denver Broncos are, I either want to hold my diamond hands like it's GameStop stock and just go into bankruptcy, going for that first draft pick, or I'm going all in on Deshaun Watson. If Elway can pull his Elway horseface magic on Deshaun Watson and get him as the quarterback, it's all going to be worth it. If Carson Wentz is my quarterback at the end of the week, I will no longer be a Denver Broncos fan.
Well, you don't think they can land Aaron Rodgers?
I would so take Rodgers. Are you kidding me? I don't know if if I have to choose between Rodgers and Watson, I'm still taking Watson just on that age. But if you're giving me Rodgers, if we're doing another Manning and riding to the sunset like season, I'll take it.
Yeah, my whole thing with this huge quarterback trade, all of a sudden everyone's all in on quarterbacks. I think this started with Tampa Bay. Tom Brady joins a 7-9 team. He says, "Listen, this team is only 1 quarterback away from winning a Super Bowl." What do? They win the Super Bowl the very next year in a pandemic. So I feel like there's a lot of teams out there who are saying, listen, we just need solid quarterback play. And maybe they think they can get a 2018 Carson Wentz. I'm thinking the Colts, maybe the Niners. Would you rather have Carson Wentz or Jimmy G? I don't know. But I feel like a lot of these teams are going to go all in on maybe Derek Carr. Maybe he's available. He had a pretty good season. Carson Wentz, Deshaun Watson, obviously. But I think a lot of teams are going to say, look what Tampa Bay did. They were 7-9. We can do this. We're 1 quarterback away. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of spending going on.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're a team that maybe you didn't make the playoffs last year, maybe you made the playoffs and got knocked out early like Chicago, the one thing I want to point out about Tampa Bay is that, yes, they were 1 quarterback away. But look at the 3 main players that scored in the Super Bowl: Gronkowski, Fournette, AB. All 3 of those players came there because of Tom Brady, because the team showed the willingness to bring in that one guy to make a difference. So I think more than just the quarterback trade scenarios that are out there right now, you're going to see teams like the Rams give up a lot of picks in the short term or even in the long term for potential instantaneous success. I think we're about to see a shift in philosophy of how organizations are run in the NFL because of the Brady signing, because of the Stafford trade, and because of these game changers that you can spend 2, 3, 4 first-round picks to get that can right away change your team. I would love to see the Eagles trade Wentz to the Bears for Nick Foles. That man has a statue outside the stadium. People say he lucked into the Super Bowl. I say, yeah, Carson Wentz drove him to the playoffs, but he still had to win all those games. He still had to catch the Philly special. I'm for it. Bring Nick Foles back to Philly and let's restore some stability in the NFC East.
Yeah, so this Carson Wentz trade's pretty interesting because they won a lot after that Stafford trade. They won a lot for him. But it's interesting because if the Eagles won Jalen Hurts as their QB1, I don't feel like Carson Wentz's trade value should be very very large with those. I think they said they wanted 2 first-round picks, and you guys were talking about how they wanted Nick Foles in that as well. So it'll be interesting for sure. Yeah, I don't have too much to say on that. Deshaun Watson, man, I pray he doesn't leave Houston. He's the only thing that's keeping me watching football. But yeah, if these guys are worth 2 first-round picks, I want first-round picks for the next decade, man. I don't even think that's hard to believe if that's the trade value. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
All right. Well, I hate to end it there, but unfortunately, we all know either Max or Kennedy, you're getting Sam Darnold, and one of them is going to the New York Jets. So, big sad.
I already have Sam Darnold. His name's Drew Lock.
All right. Moving on from one set of trade rumors to the next. Well, actually, this isn't even rumors. This is confirmed. This is solid. The money is, as they say, in the bank. We have Trevor Bauer going to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, y'all have said they're already a really stacked team, so I'll give y'all 1 minute each. Good thing, bad thing, worth it, not worth it, go.
100% worth it. Trevor Bauer is going to make $103 million for 3 years of service, $40 million in his first year, $45 in his second. He wins the NL Cy Young last year in a shortened season, and then he joins the reigning champs. People are comparing him to Kevin Durant, saying that Trevor Bauer is just joining a stacked team. I completely disagree. Trevor Bauer didn't lose to the Dodgers. Trevor Bauer didn't go 7 games and then join the team that beat him. He won the Cy Young on his own merits and then joined his local hometown team. He's from North Hollywood. He played at Hart High School. He pitched at UCLA. He's doing this for the hometown discount because apparently the Mets were offering him more money. Imagine this rotation: Bueller, Kershaw, Bauer, Price, Urias. Among those 5 Cy Young awards, over 8 ERA titles. This team is disgusting. Even if they don't bring back Justin Turner, the Dodgers are in a league of their own. Everybody is going to try to catch them, and I don't think that they will. Trevor Bauer, simply amazing, 100% worth it.
I agree, Mitch. This is just a nasty rotation. You didn't even mention Gonsolin and May. They're out of the mix now. Maybe Urias.
I know. I didn't even mention them. They're like the reserve.
What? I'm pretty sure Dustin May is a starting the ace on the Angels, and he's going to be 6-7 man. I don't even know how they're going to figure this out. But Mitch, I know you were kind of.
Come on, make it quick. You're running your timeout. We got to move.
Oh, I just want to say, Trevor Bauer, man, who does he think he is? Should I play for the Angels? 10 words for Mets fans. The secret to the New York Mets. The secret to the Boston Red Sox. Can this guy stop acting like he's LeBron? I mean, who does he think he is? He signs for more money than LeBron, but come on, it's baseball. Relax.
I'm calling time on you, Danny.
Relax on the YouTube.
All right, next.
The secret of the Mets and the secret of the Boston Red Sox is 15 words, Danny. Of course, this makes the Dodgers better. It's impossible to predict that they're going to win the World Series because baseball is so random that it's impossible. But this definitely puts them in a prime position, and it hurts me seeing as a Rockies fan. It's almost like watching a car just get rustier and rustier and rustier and rustier, and then you look over to your neighbor's house, and he has like a really nice Porsche, and he's putting in a brand new, I'm not a car guy, so a brand new engine, and you just cry.
Yeah, I don't have too much to say either. Seems like a good signing, to be honest. But the Dodgers, they lost Jock Peterson and Kike Hernandez, right?
Lost is one way to say it. Maybe they let them walk in order to make room for Bauer's salary.
Yeah. Dodgers suck anyway, so who cares?
The most important thing about Bauer, I hate to cut you off, Dom.
No, you had your minute.
On his website,
you had your minute. Dom is talking now.
You had your minute. You have been muted. And with that, we are out of time for today. Let me know your names, where our viewers can find you on Twitter, Instagram, wherever. Danny.
At D Stepanovich, Twitter, Instagram.
At Mitch Ross Report, Houston cheated.
At _ Max Clark on Twitter and Instagram. Houston did cheat, but it's okay.
Kennedy C. Collier on Twitter. I'm a sad boy.
I'm not.